Hello, hello. This is Jessica Gerlock, certified personal trainer and author of the book You Don't Make Friends with Salad. And you're listening to the 5 Foot Strong podcast, the show that we will do a deep dive into our personal strengths, discover what makes you strong, and talk about our physical and mental health journeys. Whether you are 5 feet tall like myself or 5'11", we are all 5 foot strong in our own unique and beautiful ways. So please take a big deep breath in, get comfortable, and let's do this. Hello, hello, and welcome back to the 5 Foot Strong podcast. I'm your host, Jessica Gerlock, and on today's episode, we are celebrating mothers everywhere with this very special Mother's Day episode. Motherhood in general comes in many forms, not just biological. There are adopted mothers, godmothers, spiritual mothers, mothers of all types of figures in everybody's lives. I would like to say mothers are some of the strongest people in the entire world. They birth us, they nurture us, and they love us. I know my mom is my best friend and was an incredible support for me when I was dealing with some of my darker days when I was a teenager. I owe her a lot more than the few gray hairs I caused her. So today's guest is my mom, Sheila Gerlock, to talk about how she was able to stay strong during some of those rough years. So let's get into it all and let's welcome my mom, Sheila, to the 5 Foot Strong podcast. Hey, Mom, what's up?
Hi, Jess.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. So I'm going to ask you the question that I ask all my guests is, what does being strong mean to you?
I think being strong comes in all different forms, as we've seen and we've heard through the podcasts that have happened before this one. I think to me, being strong is resilience and being able to deal with whatever life throws at you and just keep moving on and not letting it stop you from proceeding with life.
That makes sense. And yeah, resilience is strength for sure. So I want to go back to my teenage years a little bit. How are you able to stay strong during those years?
So, a lot of people who've read your book and found out about what you went through came up to me and said, I had no idea that you were dealing with that. And I don't remember keeping it a secret, but I think I just, other than a few close friends, I just carried on and did the best I could. Dance is my therapy. I go to a dance studio and I dance a few times a week. And I think that helped me through it. I tried to go whenever I could when you were okay for me to go. And the other thing is I try to stay social to a point when I could and where I could. And I think those things helped me.
When did you realize that, like mentally, that there was something off?
I can actually remember the exact day.
Yeah.
We were on a road trip. We were on the way to Buffalo, and it was a holiday. I can't remember if it was PD Day or if it was Black Friday or something like that. And we went to Buffalo and we started talking about something, and you got very upset. And it was something to do with a friend, and I can't remember the exact situation, but and what it entailed, but I just remember you getting very upset, and I thought, okay, this reaction isn't good. And you told me you didn't want to go back to school. You were very upset. Something made you very distraught. and you didn't want to go back to school. So that concerned me because I had never heard you say that before.
Right. And school's supposed to be a safe environment. But if with kids with anxiety, sometimes it doesn't feel like the safest environment.
Exactly. Right.
When when I talk about it in my book that day in high school that I questioned my life and I heard you at the other side of the door. What was going through your mind?
I was saying, there's no way that you're going to be hurt, that I'm going to save you. You will be okay. I
Yeah.
was just staying incredibly positive. I was staying as calm as I could be. But I was very frightened, but I didn't want you to be able to tell that I was as frightened as I was.
And that's strength. You tried to put on a face. You tried to
I
give
did.
me strength to get through that time.
I think I did that a lot with you.
Yeah, and honestly, as I say, I owe you a lot more than the gray hairs I've given you. But now that we're adults, like I have a brother and we're both adults now, what have you learned about yourself from having kids?
Well, I have a saying, and I've told you many times, and my biggest saying is, you're as happy as your least happy child.
Right.
So, you always worry about them, and it doesn't matter how old they are. And then when you have grandchildren, you worry about them too.
Yeah.
So I now understand what my mother and my mother-in-law had gone through and is going through, because you're always going to worry, and once you're a parent, you're always a parent.
Yeah. And I think that what you showed me as a teenager that you showed strength to support your kids. And that was a really important thing. And you showed it to my brother too. You talked about dance being like that's how you prioritized your mental health. But how
Yes.
else did you prioritize your mental and physical health? And still,
um
how do you? Because you are my mother. Everybody is in quite good shape. I train her. She is a mindset, fitness, and wellness client. But how did you do it?
so you're right, because before dance, even, I was really into power walking, and I still do it. I find it the best therapy. I put on my headphones, listen to my favorite music, or as you say, Jessica, jams,
Yeah,
and I just go, and I feel so much better when I'm out there. It's like you can forget about all your worries. And even when I'm at dance, I find like we have a cubby that we put our purse and our water in, and our keys and our phone, and that's that cubby for that hour. I don't That's where my worries stay, and I don't think about it for an hour. It's like a golfer. If you think about anything but your stroke, you're not going to do very well. So you can't think about anything else, or you're not going to dance well, or I'm going to trip while I'm walking. So I just have to focus. And I think you've taught me a lot about focus and determination, and just staying on target.
yeah, for sure, 100%. You know what? Each day is a new opportunity to improve yourself, to become a better self. And I say it as if you take care of yourself, you'll be a better person. You'll be a better parent in general. Do you agree
Right.
with that?
I do. And I also feel that if I let what you were going through affect me, I wouldn't be very good for you.
Right.
So I had to be resilient. I had to put on a face. I had to stay strong. There you go.
Yep.
There's your
And there
word.
and there's your journey of strength.
And there's my journey of strength. I had to, because I had to help you.
Yeah. And again, I owe a lot to my mom, and we have created a very good adult daughter mother relationship. Um, but because I've been able to open up now, and I think you realize that more when I was dealing with a lot of my issues, I closed off from you and my family.
Yes. Yes. And again, you knew I was here. And when you were ready, you came to me.
You know, I
And I,
always say that, going back to that, is I do say that, you know, you told me your heart was always in the right direction. Is, you know, when doctors were starting to get worried about my weight, you know, you wanted me to get the best help. And the best
Mhm.
help, I was given, I was so lucky, and I'm grateful now looking back that I was given those supports. But it really wasn't till I was ready to make
Right.
those massive changes that anything happened.
That's right. That's right. I mean, everything was put in place, but I kept saying to your dad, who was very concerned about you, that we can't do anything. You have to make the decision. And
Yeah.
that's a very hard thing for a parent to watch. Your hands are tied because you say the wrong thing, you do the wrong thing, it can make it that much worse.
But that's when you have to really be resilient.
Yes,
That's when the
yes,
resilience comes in.
it does. I think so. I think I don't think I realized what I was doing until it was all done. You just go through the motions. You don't really think about it. You just act because you're trying to save a life is
Yeah.
basically what you're doing, and you're trying to help your child, and it's the most important thing to you. And you don't know how it's going to end up. You
Right.
just want to you want to just go for it.
You got
It's
to
like
believe.
it's like somebody who's thinking, you want to grab them out of the water.
Yeah. When the doctors told you, and I remember this when I talk about it in the book as well, when they told me that I was clinically depressed, how did you feel about that?
I was not completely surprised because I could tell that you weren't happy. You were overweight. You, you know, liked school to a point, but didn't love it anymore. Um, you had some social issues. Um, the way you reacted to certain things with friends just made me wonder what was going on. So I wasn't 100% surprised.
And when they said that, and we were kind of on the same page as, let's get help. Like, now that we have an
Right,
answer, let's do
right,
this, you know?
right, right.
And so I always like talk about my journeys to making that left turn. How shocked were you? Well, looking now back, that I've lasted 10 years on this lifestyle journey.
Well, forget about the lasting for 10 years. Let's go back to the day that you, number one, came to your dad and I and said, okay, I want to go on a trip. I got to figure things out. I'm not happy.
Yeah.
So let's go back to that.
Yeah.
And that was something that he didn't agree with. And I said, I don't think we have a choice.
Yeah.
And you paid for your trip
Yeah.
and you went and you came back. And when you came back and said, okay, I want to join a gym, I want to work on my body, I'm going to take some time off. Are you going to support me? Will you help me
Yeah.
financially, help me through getting a trainer, going to a gym? And
100%.
and I said, we said, yes. And did I think that it was going to end up like this?
Yeah.
I didn't really think about it too much, but the answer would be no.
Right. I
I
was not
I
healthy. Like, I was into sports growing up. Like,
Yeah,
but
but you had a lot of yeah, but you had asthma, you had a lot of health issues, and a lot of them probably were stress related or anxiety related, but they
yeah.
felt real. They're very psychosomatic. They were very real. We went to a lot of doctors,
Yeah.
and yeah, I did learn something about you though, Jess, and I will
What?
share this with all of your listeners.
Yeah.
That when you ask to do something that you decided to do,
Yeah.
you do it. You do it, and you
Yeah.
don't back down. and you don't renege on it, and you carry through till it's done. You finish whatever you've started. I know that now,
Yeah.
but I didn't know that then. And you made a commitment to making a lifestyle change, and you made it. And I wouldn't have known that you made it until 10 years later that
Yeah.
there's the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah.
And it's really unbelievable. Like your makeover on City Line all those years ago talked about your story, but that was still all those years ago, and here you are. You
Still
still have
going.
things to you're still going, and you have things to add to it. You've done a book, you've written a book, and
Yeah.
you started these podcasts, which I think are going to help a lot of people.
Well, you know what? I always say to you that whatever happened to me, it was meant to happen to me that so that I can give back and inspire and motivate others to, hopefully, see another day, see some positivity in the world. And, I didn't see that. I didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel, but I do now, like, this is where I'm meant to be. And to be honest, I don't think I would have been here without you. So thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome, and I'm very glad I could help.
So I want to finish off, Mom, by asking if you have any healthy tips for moms who are struggling with kids, maybe teenagers with mental illness.
So I'm going to say my first tip is for the moms specifically. And just like I used walking and dancing as my therapy and to help me through the tough times, take care of yourself. Do something that helps you relieve your anxiety, whether it be yoga, whether it be going for a walk, whether it be meeting a friend for a coffee, whatever it takes. Do something for yourself. I think that would be my number one tip. My second tip is offer support to your child, whether you feel they want it or not. Just let them know you're there. Let them know you care. Let them know that they're loved. As hard as it is to love a child who's going through that, because it can be very difficult, and they can shun you away and push you away. And let them know that when they're ready, they can come to you.
Well, I think those are really healthy tips for moms who are struggling. We all grow up, and some of the teenage years can be the roughest years as a mom. I don't know it personally, but I can only imagine what I put you through. So thanks, Mom, and hopefully you can inspire others and help other moms. So you're doing a good thing.
Great. I hope so.
Well, let's end on that note. I appreciate, Mom. I thank you so much for coming on the podcast today and sharing your and our journey of strength. And I think it will inspire a lot of people, showing that this you can't do it alone. When you
No.
are with diagnosed with mental illness, accept support. Accepting support is a sign of strength, and accepting that I had a family there to support me was one of the biggest things to keep me alive. So I know it wasn't
100%.
easy growing up with me, but you've always been there, and I will always be extremely grateful for you and the relationship we have. Thanks, Mom.
You're welcome.
We are going to finish off this Mother's Day episode by thanking my mom, Sheila Gerlock, for coming on today's podcast and talking about our journey of strength. She is one strong mom, and I believe I am as strong as I am because of my strong mom. Moms are the best. We would all be lost without them. So again, I want to wish all the mothers, grandmothers, godmothers, motherly figures, whatever type of mother you are listening, a very happy and healthy Mother's Day. May your day be filled with lots of peace, love, happiness, and maybe some quiet time away from your kids. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like, subscribe, comment, and share. Remember, whether you are 5 feet tall like myself, 5'1 3/4" like my mom, or 5'11", we are all 5 foot strong. See you next week.
1,